The Holocaust by Daniela Castro, Maria Garcia Rivera, and Aurelie Diaz. The word Holocaust means the mass murder of about 6 million European Jews by the German Nazi regime during the Second World War. To Adolf Hitler, the Jews were an inferior race or an alien threat to the German racial purity and community. Hitler was obsessed with the idea of the superiority of the pure German race, which he called Aryan, with the need of living space for that race to expand. The first official concentration camp opened at Dachau on March 1933. Many of the first prisoners sent there were communist. The Nuremberg Laws of 1935 stated that anyone with 3 or 4 Jewish grandparents was considered a Jew. Those with 2 Jewish grandparents were considered half-breeds. The German police forced tens of thousands of Polish Jews from their homes into ghettos, which were surrounded by high walls and barbed wire. At the beginning of the fall of 1939, Nazi officials selected around 70,000 Germans institutionalized for mental illnesses or disabilities to be gassed to death in the so-called euthanasian program. Since June 1941, experiments with mass killing methods had been ongoing at the concentration camps of Auschwitz.
Causes and effects. During World War II, Hitler rose into a high position of power and deemed Jews as the cause of Germany's demise. After winning his position, he launched a campaign against the Jews, blaming them for all the misfortunes and the befallen Germany. Hitler said that the loss of World War I was because of the Jewish conspiracy, and the Treaty of Versailles was also a Jewish conspiracy which was designed to bring Germany to its knees. Hitler was able to gain popularity during the Great Depression, and the people of Germany were looking for a scapegoat. During the Holocaust, approximately 6 million men, women, and children lives were claimed. Out of the 6 million, 1.5 of them were children ranging from the ages of an infant to teenagers. The Jews were evicted from their homes and forced into concentration camps. Many fled out of the country and into neighborhood countries or out of their continent. Very few people went into hiding, and those that did were mainly children. Hitler was a persuasive speaker that was able to persuade the people of Germany that it was all of the Jews and Gypsies' fault. That Germany is suffering through the Great Depression. Therefore, concentration camps and ghettos were created to separate the Jews and the non-Jews. Concentration camps were the ones for those who were labeled as political opponents and social deviants. As Germany continued its conquest, more and more people were labeled as someone who was against the Nazi Party. Therefore, more concentration camps and ghettos were created. Causes and effects continued. The whole world was affected. The world saw that what Germany did to the Jews, and Germany's reputation was ruined. Millions of Jews were displaced and forced to flee from their homeland in fear of being imprisoned or in concentration camps. Although people saw the mistreat of the Jews, no one did anything. Communities were broken up and lives were lost throughout Europe. This mass genocide left children without parents. People lost the ones they loved most. During Hitler's rule, people lived in a constant fear. No one wanted to be accused of being a Jew, and those Jews in hiding had lost some of their identity.
Thoughts of those against Jews. Hitler was able to convince the Germans that the Jews and Gypsies were to blame for the Great Depression. Jews were not considered Germans to Hitler. Hitler believed that ordinary Germans were being systematically excluded because Jews were overrepresented in the top echelons of German society. Jews were accused of being robbers, not being civilized, and they were accused of hating the white race and wanting to lower its cultural level so that they may dominate. They drive out Christianity in schools. They are liars and thieves, depicted as communists. Thoughts of those supporting Jews. People felt pity for the Jews. They were innocent and just as good or as bad as any other person. Jewish and non-Jewish, they believe themselves to be handpicked by God, so there must be a reason why they think that perhaps they were. They are only practicing their faith, and it is not their fault. They should not be accused of anything because of their religious afflictions. It is not right what the Nazi Party is doing to the minority population just because Germany is in turmoil and they need someone to blame. Thoughts of those against Jews. Hitler was able to convince the Germans that the Jews and Gypsies